Welcome to the channel, Joleen. You are now on Storytime with Alanna Percival. That is me. And I'm super excited to have you here as you are here with your book, The Night Butcher, which is set to release on June 6th, which is super exciting because that is today, the day of your book release. How are you holding up with the excitement and the anticipation?
Barely hanging in there, but I'm very, very thrilled to have her out in the hands of everybody. I just want to say thank you to you and thank you to everybody else who has supported me for everything. It's without people like you guys and all of my friends that I've met on TikTok that I wouldn't have been able to keep it together and not be somewhat cool, calm, and collected through the whole process. Because I think I'm not as freaked out as I should be.
It's really interesting when something crazy like releasing a book for the first time, how your nerves kind of react to it, whether it's extreme exhilaration or a little bit wrenching, and you feel like you're gonna hurl, or you're just super excited. And sometimes you feel like you should be more than where you're at. With this coming into this book, is I had a question about the Night Butcher. Is this a standalone novel, or are we being pulled into an addictive new series? And if it is a series, how far ahead have you mapped things out? And do you already know where it all ends? Or can you tell us?
I think I'm going to give you the first tidbit of information.
Ooh, me.
Yes, you. I haven't told anybody this, but the Night Butcher is going to be a duet.
A duet. Oh, that's so exciting.
Yes.
Oh, you heard it here first, folks. It's going to be a duet with JJ Johnson. I am super excited because that means there's more to come from this amazing book, The Night Butcher. If you had to pitch this book in one sentence, like a movie trailer or a voiceover, what would it be?
The Night Butcher is a romantic thriller full of drama, suspense, thrills, obviously, a little bit of humor sprinkled in, some spice,
Ooh.
resilience, and a lot of good times that are going to keep you hooked.
Very cool. That sounds like a book that I need to have on my bookshelf. And I'm sure everyone watching here today is also going to want to have this book on their bookshelf. Without spoilers, what is one twist or moment in the book that you can't wait for readers to experience?
One moment that I can't wait for readers to experience is going to be when Armalee becomes very, very, very real and raw about a point in her past. And she shares it with a side character named Marcus Nevins. He is a Yuma County deputy, and she shares her past with domestic violence.
Okay.
And that past of hers that she shares is actually my true past.
Oh,
And
wow.
that's me putting myself out there. And I really want readers to hear that and experience that because that was me being cathartic and putting my own therapy in the book.
That's a very raw moment to put out there for the world to see in your book. And I'm sure that's going to be something that was cathartic while you were writing it as well, to be able to open up and release in a way that can sometimes be overwhelming at times. Did you find that scene difficult to write for you? Was it like opening a wound?
It was very hard to write, but it was also it was like going to intense therapy at the same time.
Okay.
Um, I cried a lot after I wrote it. It was literally like one of the most intense therapy sessions I've ever went through. And then I had to sit down and I took maybe 4 or 5 days off from writing, I had to put the Night Butcher away and just step away completely and reset my brain because it was rough. It was really rough, but it felt good when I was all done and said with it to get that out and get it on paper and put it out in the world because it was something that I hadn't shared with a lot of people.
Now that it's out and you're able to share it in this format where it is still a fantasy, but at the same time, it is the reality that you've experienced, has that helped you heal from that moment now that you've been able to come back to writing?
Yes, it has. It's helped me heal quite a bit. It's made it so that I know that what happened happened, but also I am a survivor
Yes,
and I'm seen and I'm heard. And that's what matters is that in a moment like that, I'm not alone.
absolutely.
And I don't want people who go through things like I went through to feel alone. I want them to know that they aren't victims, they're survivors, that they too can be heard, and that they are not alone as well.
I completely agree with that. And I think that's amazing that you were able to open up something so deep within your heart to be able to heal for yourself, but also be able to make a moment that your readers can cling on to and be like, hey, look, I can also feel heard. And I can also, I know a lot of us women can relate to those types of unfortunate events. But we also need to have someone like yourself who can write about it to give us a form of catharsis in our own ways as well, even though it's not our personal experience. With going through The Night Butcher and then pouring your heart out into this book as well, every writer has a light bulb moment where an idea grabs hold of them and lets them go and lets you just go on a writing tangent. What was that light bulb moment for you with writing The Night Butcher?
Mm, that's a difficult question because, wow, I'm thinking on this one for a while. My light bulb moment had to be when my ending changed. My ending became a different ending. And that was about halfway through writing the book that
Okay.
all of a sudden the idea of, oh, Atlanta, we're going to change the whole ending of your book. And I was like, okay, okay. I don't hate this idea. And so then I had to start writing the rest of the book in a different manner, but it was fun and it was different and it was exhilarating and it was the way that it worked out to me was how it was meant to be. And it flowed so well and it ended so beautifully.
That's
I think it
amazing.
did. I have a feeling that there might be some readers who are going to come for me.
I think every author experiences that. And for me, I think when a reader is so agitated at the end of a book that they want to come for you in a way, I think that is high praise because that means you hit them in such an emotionally impactful way through your writing that they want to talk to you directly. And I think that
Right.
is high praise. Let's talk a moment about monsters, whether human or supernatural. What makes the most terrifying antagonist?
The most terrifying antagonist is going to be one that can get inside your head and inside your soul and won't let go, and one that can just really give you the heebie jeebies and the willies and just make your skin crawl. And for me, those are the ones that just, ugh, they make you do that number. And I
Yes.
think that's what I did with The Night Butcher. Writing his chapters, I literally had to step away for a while and make myself reset because I gave myself the heebie jeebies. And so I knew that I did something right in those chapters because I was freaking myself out. And so that makes him a good monster and it makes him a good just ugh.
When you write a scene or an antagonist that gives the author the heebie-jeebies, that's when you know you've written a good bad guy.
Exactly.
I love that. So when I love how you're talking a lot about getting in your head, and with the Night Butcher, you're a bad guy because it really brings in that suspense, that thriller kind of feel to your antagonist, which your book is a suspenseful romance. But when you're talking about suspense, it's all about tension, whether it's a particular scene in your book or uh, you sweat for a little while writing it. Was there one scene that made you just go, oh my goodness, what did I just put down on paper?
Mm. It would have to be the first chapter that I wrote from the Night Butcher's point of view
Okay.
because I'd never written or thought of anything that's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And I actually had to sit down and do math to get out the numbers that he was coming up with. And I checked my math 6 times to make sure that they were right. To the hours, minutes, the minutes, hours, days that he had been obsessed over early with just obsession and sheer stalker-ish tendencies and just focus he had on her and but also how disgusted he was with himself for it at the same time.
Okay, so very introspective while being creepy and stalkerish at the same time.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And that's your first chapter in his point of view.
Yep, which is I think chapter 2.
Very cool. I'm really excited because I have pre-ordered this book. So I am looking forward to it coming and being in the mail so I can read it. What is the biggest twist in The Night Butcher that left you absolutely stunned? How did it come to you if not inspired?
Then the twist that came to me just all of a sudden popped. um I think it was my main character just speaking to me,
Okay.
saying this is what needs to happen. I'm one of those weird writers that my characters talk to me,
Okay, very cool.
so I'm a little crazed
It's like
because
your internal monologue takes on a new voice.
exactly, if I don't write when they're talking, I go a little, I feel stir crazy. Um, I'm having a hard, I have thought on that question for a while, and I'm having a hard time coming up with a plot or a twist that really surprised me because I can usually guess where movies and books are going. I'm like, oh yeah, this is where it's headed. This is where it's headed.
Ooh.
And a lot of twists don't really surprise me that much. And so it's been a long time since something has really just like gotten me and threw me for a loop.
So that makes me have a question for you. Since you are very intuitive in the twists that happen in cinema and books and other forms of storytelling, do you think the twist in your book would be one that readers will catch, or will it be one that will catch them off guard?
I'm hoping it catches them off guard.
Very cool.
Um, I would like to catch them off guard. It caught me off guard, but I don't know. It may be very predictable. Who knows?
Well, I
So
look
far,
forward.
the few reviews that I've gotten on Goodreads, it's been that ending though.
That's a good review to have. I look forward to it to see if I can kind of see it as it happens or if it's going to catch me off guard as I read The Night Butcher. If your book had a secret code hidden inside, I'm thinking like Artemis Fowl kind of style, like something only the most dedicated readers would catch, what would it be?
Music.
Music. Do you have a playlist that goes along with your book?
I do at the beginning of the book, especially like, so if you were to do the EPUB, and the EPUB, there's a live link to the Spotify playlist, but in the printed version, there is a shortened URL
Very cool.
printed for you to get to the Spotify playlist that I have. And the Spotify playlist is public. And that playlist is what I wrote that helped inspire parts of the book. And so that music is kind of like a code to my emotions while I was writing the book.
Very cool. I love books that have playlists. That is something that I've actually been recently introduced to our music playlists that go along with stories. And it is something that I believe brings the reader much more immersively into the book as well and into the author's mindset. Your main character is in deep trouble. What is their fight or flight instinct? And in real life, are you more of a fight, flight, or freeze kind of person?
I'm definitely a fighter, stand and throw hands as much as possible, or words, mainly words. Um, my main female character, she is a fighter as well, but she will do the same as I will. She'll try and tear you down with words before she does anything else. And then my main male character, Cohen, he is a fighter, given he is a police officer.
Very
And so by nature, he is a fighter and he's very procedural about what he does. So he's very black and white in his everyday life, but he's gray when it comes to his armor.
That makes sense. Morally gray for Armely. I like that.
Yep.
When you are coming, because this book is also, it is a romance as well as a suspense, thriller, horror kind of book. So when we're getting into romance, romance is all about chemistry. What is one moment in your book where the sparks fly the most?
Hmm. Well, I would say it's towards the beginning in the prologue when they first meet in the dingy bar called Banksy's. Excuse me, the prologue talks about how they first met. And it is kind of like their meet cute, but they both are super attracted to each other.
Okay.
And they spend hours just talking about anything and everything under the sun. And they're getting along so well. And it's almost perfection.
I love that. And that is right up in the prologue. That is how we started all off with sparks flying. And then those sparks turn a little terrifying. If your book had a theme song, oh, you've told us this, you that perfectly captured its romance. I'm sure we can find that song in the playlist. But what would that song be to perfectly capture the romance of this novel?
Well, that would be, and this is going to sound very strange, but it would be Someone in This Room. Jesse Murph and Bailey Zimmerman. Is a song about strife in a relationship,
Okay,
but also love in a relationship.
very
So,
cool. I think that fits the style of your book perfectly.
yep.
The best love stories have obstacles, as we all know, because nothing with love is ever easy. Sometimes it can be quite difficult. What is the biggest challenge your character has to overcome before they can find their happily ever after?
Sorry, I have to fix my insulin pump. Okay. This thing is beeping and it won't shut up.
You are good.
Obstacles, let's see. One of the biggest obstacles they have to overcome is the fact that they put each other in the friend zone in the beginning.
Okay. Yep, that's an obstacle.
Yeah, and it lasts for quite some time. And then they have to overcome the obstacle of a serial Can I say it?
Yes, it's YouTube.
Serial killer.
YouTube, you can say anything. It's rated M. It's not, there's nothing. You're fine. You can
Okay.
say whatever you want.
I just wanted to make sure. What are the restrictions on here? I've never done this. You have to overcome the obstacle of a serial killer who is going after Emily.
Okay.
They have to get out of their own damn ways.
That makes sense. That is one heck of an obstacle, I'm gonna be honest.
I know, isn't that the truth? Like they never, you never. I tried not to do it, but it happened. It organically happened that they got in their own ways. Because I hate nothing more than when romance is in romance stories where the characters are always in their own way, and
Yes.
that's the only problem that they have. I It drives me insane.
You needed to have a real obstacle for them to overcome instead of it being just themselves that they have to overcome.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And so, but it happened. They got in their own ways.
But it happened naturally because humans are fallible, and that's okay for that to happen, especially if it's a natural occurrence and not a forced occurrence within a romance story.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I completely agree with you on that one.
What is your take on the ultimate romance trope, which you just gave us a little hint there? Enemies to lovers, forbidden love scenes, second chances. How does your book feature any, if not all of these?
Friends to lovers.
Okay.
There's a little bit of forced proximity.
Okay. Due to this
Um,
obstacle that has to take over.
well, yes, they have to, they end up hiding out somewhere and there's only one bed.
Ooh, forced proximity, one bed. I understand.
So there's that. Um, what else was there? Touch Her and Die.
Yeah,
Um, Instant Love, because Cohen is a big old sap.
love at first sight kind of idea.
Yep. Really, I can't think of many more.
But I think that is a pretty good list there. Friends to lovers, forced proximity, love at first sight, or instant love. I think when you're looking at romance, those are some really good tropes to have.
Well, and it's not solely a romance book is the thing. So I couldn't shove it full of
Exactly.
romance tropes because then the romance would take over and we'd lose some of the suspense and thrill.
Absolutely. And the suspense and the thrill, and even getting into some of those horror and elements when you're getting through this book, really is what's going to keep the reader hungry in a way, because they're going to be wanting a little bit of everything, because it is a whole meal deal that you're offering up for your readers coming into this, because it isn't just a romance, it also has those suspense and thriller aspects and some of the horror. What is a great horror story that has one moment where the reader's heart stops? Without spoilers, what is that moment in your book?
I would say in chapter 3.
Chapter 3, early on.
Yes, very early on in my book, the reader's heart is going to stop.
I love that. It's definitely not a slow burn, is what you're telling me.
No, ma'am. It gets right into it. It makes the reader's heart just go, and you just tend to like you get right into it, and the the oh my God, is everybody going to be okay? Is what just happened here? What you know? Because yeah, all three are introduced to each other, and it's a very graphic scene. I write in large detail.
Very good
And
to
I
know.
was also I write fiction based in realities. So I had law enforcement officers to consult with. I had doctors and nurses to consult with when it came to injuries and surgeries to repair those injuries.
Mhm.
So if me saying injuries,
I understand. Yes. That's really cool
so
that you had so many to consult with and you did some consulting with because you're writing fantasy in real life so that you can make sure that it is as true to life as possible throughout your book. I really admire that with authors because it's tough when you're reading a book and they say something and you have that background knowledge and you're like, no, ma'am, that's not how that actually works. So it's really nice for me as a reader to know that you did that due diligence.
yeah, I didn't want people to be like, what? And I wanted to be able to trust in myself that what I was putting out there was the truth.
Absolutely.
And I wasn't just going to put out something that I knew wasn't factual enough, but also fictional in the same aspect, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Absolutely. Horror often taps into deep fears. What's one fear you've woven into this book? Something that genuinely unsettles you?
I've tapped into the fear of like someone stalking you. I've
Mm-hmm.
tapped into the fear of, are they going to take away the one person that I love,
Mm-hmm.
losing that one person that you love. Those are two of the biggest fears that are very prevalent in this book. So those two fears, the stalking is, it's a huge fear. It's you feel this constant niggling on the back of your neck or this itch in the middle of your spine, and you feel like you can't go anywhere or do anything. And then, on the other side of it, you're always worried, am I going to lose that one person that I love the most? Or is this entity going to come after this person that I love the most? Are they next in line in this line of serial killings? And, you know, when is it their turn? Or is there anything that I can do to save them?
That is a very intense fear to have. And then also to be reading while you're going through a book is one that I think is going to stick with readers for a very long time. Even after they close the book for that chapter to go to bed at night, they'll still have that tingle, like you're saying. And that is because it's such a real fear that you experience and we have all experienced. I think that's going to be very relatable for the readers going into The Night Butcher and having that horror, suspenseful cape, I guess, over top of them.
I hope.
We're now we've spoken a lot about like your romance, the suspense and horror elements of your book. I want to ask you about your journey as an author. What is one book that made you fall in love with storytelling? And if you could have dinner with any author, alive or dead, who would it be and why?
So my absolute favorite book that made me fall in love with storytelling that I read when I was really young, I probably shouldn't have read it, was John Grisham's The Time to Kill.
Oh, yes.
And that book is my all-time favorite book. And I could pick it up and read it anytime. Doesn't matter where I am. I love it. And there's another book more recently, Blackbird by Crystal Christ. And that book is just so heartfelt and deep and emotional, raw and real.
Very cool.
And there's those two. And to have dinner with anybody, I'd like to have dinner with John Grisham and Crystal at the same time.
John Grisham and Crystal at the same time. I love that. I feel like that
Because
would
I
be
think
a trio meant to be.
exactly, I think we could have quite the conversation between the three of us, and it would be entertaining.
I
So
agree.
I, I pick both if I could pick.
If you can, well, you can pick both. Let's pick both just for you.
Thanks.
Your favorite character in your book, if they came to life for one day, what kind of trouble would they get into?
I think Arma Lee would definitely get up to no good doing things like drinking way too much wine because
Yep.
it's her day off. She's no longer having to worry about patients at the trauma unit. Um, she would be reading, but her and I would go to the bookstore and spend way too much money.
Yep. I think that checks out. That checks out. When you're going to the bookstore and you're spending way too much money at the bookstore, what is something that you are most likely to bring home with you?
Mm. Dark romance. Um, let's see. I like to bring sometimes a little bit of fluffy contemporary, depending on the mood that I'm in.
Very cool.
Um, and I've been leaning a lot more towards the romantic thrillers too, just because I'm interested in other authors that write in my genre and seeing what they're putting out.
Absolutely.
Um, but if you look at my bookshelf, there's a lot of indie authors. I have three shelves of just indie authors.
Very cool. Speaking of indie authors, you are an indie author. What made you decide to go with the independent publishing style for your journey?
Just because I wanted to do it my way. I'm very stubborn and I wanted it to come out my story and not over polished and overworked and too much of the story missing. And I was
Absolutely.
afraid that if I queried and ended up being lucky enough to get a big publishing deal, too much of the story would be missing.
That makes sense.
That, and I didn't think it was to the point where it could end up in a big publishing. I don't have enough faith in myself.
I think you have everything that could have been what a big publishing company would be looking for. But I think when you're looking into big publishing, sometimes it can take a lot longer to get to where you want to be because of all of the, what's the word I'm looking for? The red tape along the lines of editing and proofing and beta reading and the whole nine yards. So I think what you have chosen to go with independent publishing makes sense for wanting to bypass all that red tape, like you had mentioned. Writing is often romanticized, but the reality of it can be an absolute roller coaster. What is one of the struggles that hit you the hardest as an independent author, and how did you push through it?
Just how difficult it really truly is to get a book out there.
Mhm.
Um, the process of going through editing and making sure that you had your book ready to be put into the hands of ARC readers,
Yeah.
that hit me really hard because things happened and we were on a time crunch, and it's just like stuff outside of your control, and you end up panicked and freaked out when you thought everything was going great, and then it's like, okay, cool, we're done, we got this out there. And it's a lot,
Mm.
but you're the one who has to deal with it.
One of the downsides of not having the publishing company is then you're the face, you're the publisher, you're the editor, you're the
Exactly,
you're
you
the
got to do it
everything.
all. I'm glad that I do have an editor that helps me. So it's me and my editor, so I'm not completely alone in all of this.
That's good. I'm glad.
So at least I have more than just myself that has hands on the book, so that helps me.
That's very helpful. I'm really glad to hear that. I know in one of your TikTok lives that I was in recently, you had mentioned that you have a book signing in September. Tell us about that. Where is it and what date should we put on our calendars?
So, Books in the Desert is happening September 13th in Phoenix, Arizona from noon to 4 p.m. And it is a bunch of authors getting together at the Hilton in Phoenix Mesa, and we are going to be signing books, selling books. There's also going to be vendors there for bookish things, and it's just a little party get together of authors and all sorts of fun bookish related things for books in the desert.
I love
Because
that. Books in the
obviously we
desert.
are in the desert.
Yes, Arizona is definitely a desert. I love that. Books in a desert. Your book sounds incredible. If someone were on the fence about reading it, what's one sentence you would use to convince them?
Ooh. You don't always need a happily ever after to get your own happily ever after.
I love that. I want to read it. I need to read this book because I need to know how it ends. I need to know what that twist is at the end.
You do?
I really do. How can readers support you beyond just buying your book? Do you have bonus content, behind the scenes stories, or any secret projects in the work?
Well, I'm currently getting ready to start, like I said, the duet.
The duet.
And then I'm also working on a interconnected standalone. That's Marcus Nevin's story.
Very cool.
And that's called Haven. I have a website, www.authorjjjohnson.com, and there's some merchandise on that website as well as my book, and it has links to my socials as well.
Perfect.
And
We'll make
my
sure to put all of your links in the description below this video as well.
and it has a link to also my Facebook reader group. And I'm pretty active on my Facebook reader group. I try to post it, if not every day, every other day, something about what's going on in my life, whether it be personal or not. So I try to stay active with my readers as much as possible. Follow me, keep an eye out, like the videos.
Perfect. And if a new reader picks up your book, what's one emotion or thought you hope sticks with them after they turn the last page?
One thought is that we are all born with a little bit of strength and resilience inside of us. And the emotion I want you to keep with you is shock, but also I want you to keep with you that emotion of knowing that you also have that strength as well as resilience. Because I don't care who you are and what you've been through, you are going to be strong in your own way.
Absolutely. Those are very strong emotions to hold forward. Resilience, strength, and shock are very powerful feelings individually, let alone together. So, if that is how the ending is about to unfold, I am even more excited than I was before we started this interview. As we get into wrapping up this amazing interview that we've been able to spend this amount of time with you, Joleen, it has been amazing getting to know about the Night Butcher. If you could swap places with one of your characters for 24 hours, would you? And what's the first thing you would do?
Ooh, I would swap places with Cohen for 24 hours
That's your
because
character?
yeah, that's my main male character. I've always wanted to be, or at least see what it's like to be a detective or a police officer. And so I think that's what I would do. Plus, he's a badass.
That sounds like the
So
perfect character to switch places for 24 hours.
I think it'd be fun because it's only 24 hours, so I don't have to like deal with it for that long.
Yeah. So you could leave all the issues for him to deal with afterwards.
Yeah, pretty much.
Perfect.
Your problem.
Let's say your book gets a major adaptation. Who's starring in it and who is directing?
So Josh Duhamel is going to be Cohen. Carrie Underwood is going to be Arlie. I have no idea who's going to be the Night Butcher. but they better be creepy looking, creepy AF. And my director, I want to direct it.
You want to direct it. I love that.
Or I would like to have a good um scary movie director. Why am I drawing a blank?
I am too. I wanted to say Stephen King, but that's an author, not a director.
Exactly, but why am I drawing? Because that was the first name that came to mind, and I was like, no,
What about, oh, what's his name? He did like oh God, he did Nope and stuff like that. What was his name?
I know who you're thinking of. It's right there on the tip of my tongue.
Right?
I can taste it, just can't say it. I don't know.
We'll figure it out. I'll put his name down in editing.
There we go.
But if you would, I understand if you were to direct it, I think that checks out, especially with being an indie author, because that just leaves all the control for you as well. So you could be an indie director and an indie author. Perfect. Your book just became a viral book talk sensation. What is the most outrageous fan theory someone's come up with?
Oh my Lancer. That I'm Armalee and that my husband is Cohen,
Really? That's fun.
right?
Have you had any crazy fan theories come at you from any of your like beta readers or anyone who's read it so far?
No, ma'am, not
Oh
yet.
man, that is okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Since today, this interview is kind of like a bachelorette party for your book release. If your main character were at a wild party, what kind of trouble would they get into?
Armalee would be just yucking it up on the dance floor because that's her. She's wild and she's fun and she will let loose when need be. Cohen would be off on the sidelines watching her and wouldn't dance unless she dragged him out there with her.
Makes sense. I just got a full picture of that in my mind as you're explaining it, and I could definitely see from based on what everything you've told me of Armalee, of her just going up to Cohen as the wallflower, dragging him out to the middle of the dance floor, grabbing his arms and making him dance and having a good time until he started laughing and his stone face melted away.
Yep, pretty much.
Well, Joleen, it has been absolutely a pleasure having you with us here on Storytime with Alanna Percival. And it is so cool to be able to hear about your book before its release. I know today is the release day of the interview. It's also the release day of your book, which is June 6th. So it is available now on Amazon. It's available for purchase. You can also get it on Kindle Unlimited, I believe. So if you are a Kindle Unlimited subscriber, definitely pick up The Night Butcher by JJ Johnson, because I know Joleen is going to love to hear all of your reviews of her book and let her know what you think your crazy, outrageous fan theory maybe was. That could be a fun one to let us know in the comments after you read The Night Butcher. And there also in our description, we have many ways to go and support Joleen on her TikTok, on her own website, and even on her book Facebook. So if you guys are excited to read The Night Butcher and you want to support Joleen, hit up all of those links so we can get as much support for Joleen as an independent author going forward for her book, The Night Butcher, and the duet that will be coming out, as well as that standalone that she told us about. So there are much to look forward to from Miss JJ Johnson in the future. Thank you so much, Joleen, for being here with us. I hope you had a great time on Storytime with Alanna Percival.
Thank you, ma'am. I did have a good time. I really appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you too, and I look forward to seeing you again all over the gram. I mean, TikTok.
You have a wonderful day.
Bye, love.
Bye, love.